Hello, and welcome to the 19th episode of Scripture in a Year series hosted by Saints Peter and Paul Orthodox Church in the Albanian Archdiocese of the OCA. Today's readings are from Exodus chapters 21 through 24. Now these are the ordinances you shall set before them. If you buy a Hebrew servant, he shall serve 6 years, and in the 7th year he shall go out free and pay nothing. If he comes in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his lord gave him a wife, and she bore him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her lord's, and he shall go out by himself. But if the servant plainly says, I love my lord, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his lord shall bring him to the judgment seat of God, and also to the door, or to the doorpost, and his lord shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. If a man sells his daughter to be a domestic, she shall not go out as the maidservants do. If she does not please her lord who betrothed her to himself, he shall let her go free. But he has no right to sell her to a foreign people, since he has dealt deceitfully with her. If he betrothed her to his son, he shall deal with her according to the right of daughters. But if he takes another wife, he shall not deprive her of necessities, clothing, and marriage rights. If he will not do these 3 things for her, she shall go out free without paying money. He who so strikes a man that he dies shall surely be put to death. However, if he did not willfully lie in wait, but God delivered him into his hands, I will appoint for you a place where the slayer may flee. But if a man acts with premeditation against his neighbor to kill him by treachery, you shall take him from my altar that he may die. He who strikes his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He who curses his father or mother shall surely be put to death. Whoever kidnaps one of the children of Israel and overcomes and sells him, and he is found with him, let him surely die. If 2 men revile one another, and one strikes the other with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die but is confined to his bed, if the man rises again and walks about outside with his staff, then he who struck him shall be acquitted. He shall only pay for his loss of time and for his healing. If a man beats his male or female servant with a rod, and he dies under his hand, he shall surely be punished. Notwithstanding, if he remains alive a day or 2, the Lord shall not be punished, for he is his property. If 2 men fight and hurt a woman with child, and her child is born imperfectly formed, he shall surely be punished accordingly as the woman's husband imposes on him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. But if the child is perfectly formed, he shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. If a man strikes the eye of his male or female servant and destroys it, he shall let them go free for their eye's sake. If he knocks out the tooth of his male or female servant, he shall let them go free for their tooth's sake. If a bull gores a man or a woman to death, then the bull shall surely be stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the bull shall be acquitted. But if the bull tended to gore in times past, and it was made known to its owner, but he did not keep it confined, and it killed a man or a woman, the bull shall be stoned, and its owner shall also be put to death. But if a sum of money is imposed on him, then he shall pay the amount imposed, so as to redeem his life. If a bull gores a son or daughter, it shall be done to him according to this ordinance. If a bull gores a male or female servant, he shall pay their lord 30 shekels of silver, and the bull shall be stoned. If a man opens a pit or digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls into it, the owner of the pit shall make it good. He shall give money to their owner, but the dead animal shall be his. If any man's bull gores his neighbor's bull and it dies, they shall sell the live bull and divide the money, and the dead bull they shall also divide. But if the bull was known to gore in times past, and its owner did not keep it confined, he shall surely pay bull for bull, and the dead animal shall be his own. Now if a man steals an ox or a sheep and slaughters or sells it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox, and 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief is found breaking in at night and is killed, there shall be no guilt for his blood. But if the sun rises on the thief, there shall be guilt if his blood is shed. However, he should make full restitution. But if he has nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. If the thing stolen from a donkey to a sheep is found alive in his hand, he shall restore double. If a man allows his field or vineyard to be grazed upon, but lets loose his animal, and it feeds in the field of another man, he shall make restitution from the best of his own field and from the best of his own vineyard. If fire breaks out and catches in thorns, but sets threshing floors, stacked grain, or a field on fire, he who kindled the fire shall surely make restitution. If a man gives his neighbor money or goods to keep, but it is stolen out of the man's house, the thief shall pay double if he is found. But if the thief is not found, then the Lord of the house shall be brought before God, and he shall swear he played no wicked part with regard to any of his neighbor's deposit, for any kind of trespass, whether it concerns an ox, a donkey, a sheep, or clothing, or any alleged loss of whatever kind. The cause of both parties shall come before God, and he that is convicted by God shall repay double to his neighbor. If anyone gives his neighbor a donkey, an ox, a sheep, or any animal to keep, and it dies, is injured, or is taken, but no one knows it, then an oath of God shall be between them both, that he is not guilty with regard to the deposit, and the owner of the deposit shall accept this. Thus no compensation shall be made to him. But if in fact the deposit is stolen from him, he shall compensate the owner. But if it is torn to pieces by a beast, he shall bring it as evidence and make no compensation. If a man borrows anything from his neighbor, and it becomes injured or dies, the owner not being with it, he shall make compensation to the owner. But if its owner was with it, he shall not make compensation. If it was hired, it came for its hire. If a man entices a virgin who is not betrothed and lies with her, he shall surely pay the bride price for her to be his wife. But if her father utterly refuses to give her to him, he shall pay money to her father according to the bride price of virgins. You shall not permit a sorcerer to live. Whoever lies with an animal shall surely be put to death. He who sacrifices to any god except to the Lord alone, he shall be put to death. You shall neither mistreat a stranger nor oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall not afflict any widow or orphan. If you afflict them in any way and they cry out to me, I will surely hear their cry, and my wrath will become hot, and I will kill you with the sword. Your wives shall be widows, and your children orphans. If you lend money to any poor brother among you, you shall not be hard on him or charge him interest. If you take your neighbor's garment as a pledge, you shall return it to him before the sun goes down, for that is his only covering, his only garment for covering his nakedness. What will he sleep in? So it will be when he cries to me, I will hear him, for I am merciful. You shall not speak against gods, nor curse a ruler of your people. You shall not delay to offer the first of your threshing floor and fruit press. The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. Likewise you shall do with your calf, sheep, and donkey. It shall be with its mother 7 days. On the 8th day you shall give it to me. Now you shall be holy men to me, and you shall not eat meat torn by wild animals in the field. You shall throw it to the dog. Now you shall not circulate a false report. Do not agree with the wicked men to be an unrighteous witness. You shall not follow a crowd to do evil, nor join with them so as to turn aside with the majority to pervert justice. You shall not show partiality to a poor man in his dispute. If you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey going astray, you shall surely bring it back to him again. If you see your enemy's donkey fallen beneath its load, you shall not walk away from it, but shall surely help him with it. You shall not pervert the judgment of your poor in his dispute. Keep yourself far from every unjust matter. Do not kill the innocent and the righteous. Do not justify the wicked for his gifts. You shall take no bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes and corrupts just pronouncements. You shall not oppress a resident alien, for you know the heart of a resident alien, because you were resident aliens in the land of Egypt. 6 years you shall sow your land and gather in its produce. But in the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, that the poor of your people may eat. and what they leave, the beasts of the fields may eat. In like manner you shall do with your vineyard and your olive grove. 6 days you shall do your work, and on the seventh day you shall rest, that your ox and donkey may rest, and the son of your female servant, and the stranger may be refreshed. Now in everything I said to you, be circumspect, and do not invoke the name of other gods, nor let it be heard from your mouth. Keep a feast to me 3 times in the year. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. You shall eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded you at the time appointed in the month of the new grains, for in it you came out of Egypt. None shall appear before me empty. And in the feast of harvest, the firstfruits of your labors you sowed in the field, and in the feast of ingathering, at the end of the year, when you gather in the fruit of your labors from the field. 3 times in the year all your males shall appear before the Lord your God. When I cast out the nations from before your face, and expand your borders, you shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, nor shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until morning. The first of the firstfruits of your land you shall bring into the house of the Lord your God. You shall not boil a lamb in its mother's milk. Behold, I send my angel before your face to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the land I prepared for you. Listen to him and obey his voice. Do not provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgressions. My name is in him. But if you will indeed obey my voice and do all I command you and keep my covenant, you shall be my special people above all nations. For the whole earth is mine, and you shall be a royal priesthood and a holy nation. You shall speak these words to the children of Israel. And if you shall indeed obey my voice and do all I tell you, I will be an enemy to your enemies and an adversary to your adversaries. For my angel will go before you and bring you in to the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, the Girgasites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. You shall not bow down to their gods nor serve them, nor do according to their works. But you shall utterly overthrow them and completely break down their sacred pillars. So you shall serve the Lord your God, and he will bless your bread, wine, and water, and I will take away sickness from you. No one shall suffer miscarriage or be barren in your land. I will fulfill the number of your days. I will send my fear before you, and I will cause confusion among all the nations to whom you come, and will make all your enemies turn their backs to you. I will also send hornets before you, which shall drive out the Amorites, the Hivites, the Canaanites, and the Hittites from before you. I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the wild animals of the field become too numerous for you. Little by little I will drive them out from before you, until you have increased and inherit the land. And I will set your bounds from the Red Sea to the Sea of the Philistines, and from the desert to the Euphrates River. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land to your hand, and will drive them out from before you. You shall make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their gods, it will surely be a stumbling block to you. Now he said to Moses, Come up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship from afar. Moses alone shall come near to God, but they shall not come near, nor shall the people go up with them. So Moses came and told the people all the words of God and all the ordinances, and all the people answered with one voice and said, All the words the Lord spoke we will do. Then Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and he rose early in the morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain, and 12 stones according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Then he set young men of the children of Israel, who offered whole burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of calves to God. Moses took half the blood and put it in basins, and half the blood he poured on the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read in the hearing of the people. And they said, All the Lord said we will do, and be obedient. Moses then took the blood, sprinkled it on the people, and said, This is the blood of the covenant the Lord made with you, according to all these words. After this, Moses went up, along with Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel, and they saw the place where the God of Israel stood. Under his feet was, as it were, a paved work of sapphire stone, and the appearance of heaven's firmament and its purity. And of Israel's chosen men not one was missing. So they saw the place of God, and ate and drank. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Come up to me on the mountain and be there. And I will give you tablets of stone, and the law and the comments I wrote, that you may teach them." So Moses arose with his assistant Joshua, and they went up to the mountain of God. But he said to the elders, "Wait here for us until we come back to you. Indeed, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man has difficulty, let him go to them." Then Moses and Joshua went up the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. Now the glory of God descended on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. Then on the 7th day the Lord called to Moses out of the midst of the cloud. The sight of the Lord's glory was like a burning fire on the top of the mountain before the children of Israel. So Moses went into the midst of the cloud and went up the mountain, and he was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. Here ends the reading for today.